On today's show, a Christmas tale larger than life. The story of Santa's real-life hometown, a Finnish city with clear-cut outdoor ties to Minnesota.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, Laura and I welcome you to this Christmas edition of Minnesota Bound.
Most people know the name Rapala, but if you fish, most likely you're familiar with the Rapala fillet knife.
But what you might not know is that knife's connection to true Christmas lore. A simple flicker of light. Candles burn eternal come cold Finnish winters. Such is Arctic life in the town of Rovaniemi. The December solstice keeps days mostly dark. Even so, tourists still crave this cold environment. An outdoor oasis made famous by the big guy in red. More on that in a bit, but first, a 90-minute window of daylight gives us just enough time to grab a few shots of our first destination. The reason we've come to Rovaniemi, a Finnish factory with clear-cut ties to Minnesota.
No doubt we are the biggest knife manufacturer for fillet knives in the world.
50 artisans perpetually build our Martini Knives' century-old tradition, the art of the perfect edge. Martini makes outdoor knives, blades used by Finland's reindeer herders.
They are so sharp, and this sharpness comes from the knowledge from generations to generations.
All started in 1923 by Jani Martini, a humble Finnish blacksmith who peddled knives from his bike. In 1964, a single drawing would change Martini's legacy.
In '65, actually, we got the first fillet knives made, and that was the huge success for this company.
A new fishing knife with a thin, bendable blade. A concept completely foreign to Finland's anglers.
They were saying, what is that? What is not the knife with the flexible blade? It's not the knife.
Little did they know. The design, the idea of a bunch of Minnesota fishing innovators, led by Normark Rapala president Ron Weber. They put pencil to paper and sketched what they thought might be the perfect Minnesota knife, to be made by Martini.
The lab knife blade, sharpened it very thin, made it very sharpened and flexible, and sent a sample to US. That was the start.
Great shoes come from Italy, great cars come from Germany. Finland makes great things from wood, like wooden fishing lures and wooden fillet knives.
Martini's blades arrive in raw form from Germany and France, countries known for hardened stainless steel.
That reads only blanks. I don't know why I'm so intrigued by this barrel, but it kind of tells the story. Full of rejects. Unless these things are exactly right, they go in there to be recycled and reused.
Blades that pass QC go into the buffer. In just 120 seconds, the blanks become shiny, polished blades. Across the street, Jari Alme shows off the wood shack.
Wow. This is our wood stock. We use each year over 120 cubic meters.
The birch sits and cures 1 year. Only then does it go indoors where woodworkers cut handles. Now Martini's monster machine shapes each Rapala knife handle. They look about complete. Well, almost. A worker feeds handles into a laser. And a few seconds later, they pop back out.
And like that, voila. Or as they say around here, Rapala.
Up next, workers hammer out the details. And we take a break from the factory to visit Rovaniemi's other big draw. This story is definitely right out of the Christmas books.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Connecticut, Strike Master, Star Bank, and by Ice Castle Fish Houses.
Rapala fillet knives, a Minnesota fishing tradition made by Martini, a Finnish company based on the Arctic Circle. With the Rapala handles set and the blades now polished, Tero Tulianen takes over. He picks Martini parts and creates one Rapala knife. Just watch. First, Tero taps the handle onto the blade. Then he adds a rivet. Next, he grinds off the excess steel and locks the rivet into place for good.
He makes that look so easy.
Now comes Martini's last dance. The robot dance as computer-run droids sharpen blades. These bots are precise. They sharpen each flexible blade exactly the same. Only now are Rapala knives ready to go into stores.
So this is an ad from 1984, more guts than any knife in the world. I think if we were to do this ad today, it would say 54 years ago, and it would be over 30 million knives.
What I feel here, the people who are working for us, is that they want to be proud what they do. And they very much value, that this product is so international.
And so is this city, Rovaniemi. We came to document Rapala knives, but to see this town, see this place, is to truly understand Martini's story. See, Rovaniemi is a winter destination of grand proportions. Just look around. People from all over Europe and Asia visit, especially around the holidays. They come to wander around a bunch of colorful buildings out on the edge of town.
This is on the Arctic Circle, and that's why it became so famous.
But it's more than that. You see, this compound belongs to an uber famous guy.
Oh, this is Santa Claus Village. Actually, this is a very old place.
Yep, bet you didn't know Rovaniemi is Santa's hometown. For real. His Finland estate, a larger-than-life spectacle. The stuff kids and adults dream of. With a catch. See, Santa allows no visitor to bring a camera inside his house. But it turns out the big guy has a soft spot for Minnesota Bound. Visitors can wish him well and experience all the mystique behind Arctic life. An experience that culminates fireside in the shelter of a Finnish shaman.
I sense that there is hurry and busyness on you.
The Arctic's indigenous people believed in spirits tied to the natural world.
We have to make connection to those spirits.
The shaman would ward off the bad luck. Who knows? This might all be a tourist trap, but to me, it's something more. A small but moving moment immersed in Nordic tradition.
And now, my friends, those bad things has burned up into the sky.
Oh, and tonight we get to ride with Prancer.
You will always keep your fingers and legs inside the sled.
Matti Hiskari offers up one more local ritual. Photographer Aaron and I slide off into Arctic darkness. If Santa's sleigh ever squeaked like this, kids could never sleep through his Christmas visits. Still ahead, a very Merry Christmas wish. But first, we help you decorate for the holidays.
Closed captioning brought to you by North Dakota Tourism.
We are getting wildly crafty in the kitchen today, and did you know that Minnesota ranks #1 nationally for most fishing licenses sold per capita? That means approximately 1.5 million licensed anglers fish in our great state. We're going to do a little DIY holiday crafty project in honor of our love of fishing. The first step to getting started with this project is, of course, a wreath. And I have chosen to use a real pine wreath for 3 reasons. 1, I love the smell. 2, it's biodegradable. And 3, Minnesota happens to be home to the nation's largest jack pine, red pine, and white spruce trees. Next, of course, you want to start gathering the items to place on your wreath. And I have collected an assortment of fishing ornaments that I have purchased and those that have been in my family for a long time. So this is a vintage lure that's been in our family for quite a few years, definitely, I'm guessing, over 20. And I'm going to glue this to our wreath because it has meaning to my family, and I suggest that you find heirloom lures within your family that you can use as well. So it's important to cut off the barbs, obviously, with these hooks before you start gluing to your wreath so you don't get hooked in the process. Just like that. Ornaments that I can place on the wreath. These are hand-painted wood ornaments, and this is honor of our bucks that we like to chase around every fall season. And last but not least, every wreath needs a bow. And this one kind of reminded me of Raven's bandana, so I went with a nice buffalo check plaid. So next I like to place the items on the wreath before gluing them down, just to make sure I like the placement and everything is symmetrical. And you can just be creative. I think it's a great opportunity to get your kids involved with making a fun craft inside on a cold winter day. Time to start gluing. If you have ornaments that are a little heavier, one thing you want to do is just purchase some floral wire to act as backup security. So I will glue this to the wreath, but also use some wire to tie it down. Now it's time for the finishing touches, which of course is the bow. So here is to our love of fishing and the memories our lakes provide us. Happy holidays from the Minnesota Bound family to you.
Peanuts are like a magnet for birds. If you want to attract even more birds to your backyard, you want to bring in more blue jays, you want to bring in more woodpeckers, I suggest peanuts. And peanuts can be offered in 3 ways. First is out of the shell. They're a normal grade peanut that's been taken out of the shell. I swear blue jays will fly through fire to get to these peanuts. They absolutely love them. You take these and you offer them in a feeder like this that has slightly larger holes so the peanut sticks out a little bit and the bird is able to pull it out. The second way you want to offer peanuts is in the shell. They are offered in a feeder that's like this. It's a feeder with very large openings that allow the birds to pull out the peanut and fly off with it. Lastly, there's peanut butter. And you simply just take the peanut butter, big scoops of it, and smear it on a branch, smear it on the trunk of a tree, and you'll attract in more birds than you'll realize. So here's the peanut feeder. It's got nice round holes to allow the peanuts to come out individually. And remember just to use an unsalted variety. Salt doesn't really come naturally in a bird's food. So we try not to offer anything that they normally wouldn't get.
Straight ahead, a Minnesota-bound ode to the holidays, as only Ron Shera can offer.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota DNR. Radco Truck Accessories. And by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Up next, our holiday wish to you and your families.
From our Minnesota-bound patriarch, Ron Shera.
During this holiday season, we may think there's not much good cheer to cheer about. In the last days of 2020,
The darkest days of the pandemic as the U.S.
Lord knows there's never been a year like it in our lifetime.
And record hospitalizations over 100.
We see no need to review the heartaches and turmoil. We've been there, done that. What we ought to remember are the blessings that persist in this great land of ours. Some are simple, like the morning sun, the gobble of a wild turkey, the grace of a white-tailed deer, the raw power of Lake Superior. One lesson we can take from the year 2020 is, let's not take simple blessings for granted. Let's also remember that amid the sad news about COVID this and COVID that, there was good news about hope for the world that sustains us. Hope for cleaner air, cleaner water, better care for Mother Earth. Despite COVID, we saw the lives of wild creatures enriched by us. From monarch butterflies to wetlands restored for ducks and other critters. Let's not forget the changes in our lives led to new beginnings in 2020.
I told my daughter, even if I don't even catch any fish, I enjoy just sitting out here and watching the people go by and the boats.
Minnesota resident fishing license sales were the highest in 20 years. Our young people also discovered the joy of fishing as resident youth fishing licenses leaped 34% compared to a year ago.
That's a keeper, huh?
Yeah, good job, thanks.
So maybe, as awful as 2020 seemed to be, it's time to reflect around the Christmas tree. How the ornaments cling to what matters in your life. How a day on the water evaporates the strife. Lastly, in the days ahead, may your own spirit rebound. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from your friends at Minnesota Bound.
On behalf of Bill and I and our Minnesota Bound family, we wish you a safe and happy holiday season.
Until next week, that does it for us.
And in the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.